Right, so let's look at Audi yen. Audi yen, we're still expecting this to make this flat correction. So any continuation pattern here, we'll be looking for this. So this is the first area where we're looking for a move to get to. We're looking for this move to get to around this level. We may get a bounce to the upside, but that doesn't matter for now, or we may get this one to continue to the downside. So we'll decide when we get to this level. You've seen the longer term views on this. I've shown the longer term views yesterday and last week. So you can see they're making the same structure with the New Zealand as well. 1, 2, 3, looking for this area. This is going to be a critical area. Do we now get this as a continuation pattern? And then we start looking for upside. We'll be watching the indicators at those levels. Right, so the 4-hour is already below 50, so it's a bit risky to be buying it at those levels. But the daily is still above 50. So let's have a look at the daily. So the daily, as you can see, has not confirmed trend reversal. We confirm trend reversal by having a daily RSI also below 50. So this trend has been up for the past year or so. So it's just not just going to change just because the 4-hour RSI is below 50. So we'll be looking for this to continue to the upside. You can see on the daily we are setting up. We are already reset it. So we could be looking for this one to continue to the upside. So we're still looking for more upside here on New Zealand yen, even though the 4-hour is below 50. Look at Audi yen as well. Audi yen, this is Audi yen. You can see the daily. Even though we're coming down here, we are only simply looking for a continuation pattern and this one to continue to the upside. This will be another trade setup for more upside. So this is why we do not like to trade against the trend. Look at this trend here. Unless the trend has ended and it is confirming reversal, then we're going to start looking at it. But as it is now, we are getting a pullback. We have not got a confirmation that this is going to be a trend reversal. Even if it is a trend reversal, it is not going to go all the way. We're going to see a three-wave structure here. Same as we are looking at this as three waves to the upside. Look at this here. So we've got this as 1, 2, and 3. So we could get a three-wave pullback before we get a move to the upside. Right, so that is what we have. Very interesting structure, very clear structure, by the way. So even if you do get this, that will be a nice opportunity to ride it up to the top again. Right, let's look at the commodities. Gold daily. Look at the gold daily. As much as we're expecting gold to give us a move to the upside, the daily is not confirming. We are below 50. We are at the top again. We are going up correctively. So even if this move does crawl to the upside, we are still going to see one more down here on gold. So gold is not ready for another move to the upside as yet. Let's have a look at the 4-hour. So yesterday we also looked at the possibility of this making a diagonal. We will watch that as it goes. There's a possibility of a diagonal here on gold as follows, but let's watch it. Let's look at the 4-hour, see if we don't have a trade setup. So the 4-hour does not have a trade setup. As you can see here, we've got a corrective structure here on the 4-hour. This is below 50, but this is right at the bottom. So we're not looking at that as a trade setup. Look at the 1-hour. So the 1-hour is showing us a possibility of upside from current levels. Let's have a look here. So look at the indicator before I take it away. If we look at the 1-hour indicator, we are looking like this. We have resetted here. We have got this three-wave pullback. I'm going to go into the detail on that. So as much as gold may go down from current levels, the 1-hour is showing us this, that we are going to get a move to the upside, at least to come and retest this top here. If we're going to make that diagonal, that's how it's going to go. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Then we have our diagonal. As it is now, we are seeing this as a continuation pattern. We're going to see gold push a little bit higher. That is what the 1-hour is showing us at least. Okay. So we're going to watch this on gold and move to the upside. If it is a diagonal, we're not going to miss upside. We're going to get this before we get the move to the upside. So let's watch this lower degree showing us the next move should possibly be up. That is gold, silver. Silver on the 1 hour is not showing us anything. It's actually bearish. So since silver went into the blue box, it has given an indication for downside. So this was the blue box on silver. I'll show the blue box. This was the blue box on silver based on this. Based on this, and then we start coming down here. We get a corrective structure here. Looks like a continuation to the downside. So we're going to be watching this silver, and if we're looking at gold, gold looks like it's going to give us a move to the upside, but silver is very bearish. So this should guide us. We'll see if we're going to get any bounce here and then downside. Okay, so let's watch this. So still looking for more downside. As you can see, we are going up correctively. There are no impulsive moves, so we're not ready for a move to the upside as yet. So if you look at silver, in any case, we have been looking at this structure on the higher degree. We've been looking for silver to do this structure on the daily, 1, 2, 3. Since it made that impulsive spike, it has been coming down with these moves. This is another one on silver. We should see this one come around this level. So that's showing us that gold will not will not make a push to the upside, because these are obviously correlated. So we're not expecting any push to the upside on gold as well. Those are the commodities. Let's look at Brent crude. Brent crude. So we've seen Brent crude make this structure. I'm on the daily, so this looks like a small correction. On the 4 hour, it looks pretty decent. So we may get this and that. So that's why I was going through all the CAD pairs, showing that if you've got a CAD as a, if you've got a CAD currency as a quote in a pair, we're expecting this, and for oil we're expecting this deeper correction. Doesn't mean that the oil has ended its move. We're just expecting a deeper pullback here. So while oil is showing short-term weakness, all the other CAD pairs all the pairs that have got a CAD as the code should show short-term strength. Let's go to the 4 hour. You can see here, oil is still showing continuation to the downside on the 4 hour. This is a continuation to the downside. We are going to see oil push even lower. Okay, so I was actually expecting that from current levels, we are going to get a bounce here in 3 waves and another continuation to the downside, but the indicators showing us that this is going to continue to the downside. Let's look at the 1 hour. Maybe there's a bit of a bounce on the 1 hour. Yes, the 1 hour may show us a bit of a bounce here. So we may get this as 3 waves up, 3 back, and 3 up, but eventually we should see oil continue to the downside short term. That's why I'm seeing the CAD pairs as pushing lower. Those that have got a CAD as the code, and those that have got the CAD as the base pair should push a little bit lower. So for example, pound CAD, we're expecting downside. CAD chief, we're expecting downside. No, sorry guys, let's have a look here. So we went through CAD, pound CAD. We're expecting downside on pound CAD. So this will be driven by the pound itself, not necessarily the CAD, because if CAD is showing us weakness, we would have expected to see pound push a little bit higher. But pound, and this one is our trade of the week, we'll be looking for this. So this is because of the pound short-term weakness. And as I've shown, CAD chief, this is CAD. So I'm looking for CAD chief to push a little bit lower. As you can see, it's also confirming on the 1 hour. We're going to see a bit of downside here. Look at that. That is actually a trade setup on the 1 hour. This is a trade setup after this 3-wave correction. We're looking for this to continue to the downside because oil is showing short-term weakness. So because CAD is the base, it should go with the weakness here. Okay, so New Zealand CAD, Audi CAD, they have got the CAD as the quoted pairs. They've got the CAD as the quoted pair. So we're expecting them to give us a short-term upside, while the CAD quoted is showing us short-term downside, same as oil showing us short-term downside. That is the reason why we're looking at that correlation. All right, that's what we have there on the CAD pairs. Let's look at the rest. So we've gone through the commodities and oil. Pound chief. Pound chief, any opportunity that you get to the downside is giving us an opportunity to take this further up higher. We saw this yesterday. this one's still going to continue to the downside, but we're just looking for a deeper corrective structure, because when this is done, we're going to see a bigger move to the upside again. This move to the upside is still in play on CAD Chief, rather Pound Chief. Let's go back to the 4 hour here. Okay, so we're still looking for much more upside here. A deeper correction is imminent here. It has been pushing up higher with an impulse without any decent correction, without giving us a decent opportunity to enter here with this parabolic move. So now we're getting deeper corrections. When this is done, we should see a resumption of the move to the upside. Pound CAD we already looked at. Pound US dollar, we still expect this one to make one move to the downside, at least get to around this level. Still from yesterday, nothing has changed. Look for this to get around these levels. If we're going to get this one bouncing up here, that's fine. Then we're going to look for this. So it's going to be 3 up here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then we look at this as a 3 wave as well, just so you see which 3 waves I'm looking at. This will be the 3 waves on Pound AUD. So for now, we may get this small bounce to the upside here. But eventually what you want with Pound AUD is that when this corrective structure is over, the corrective structure is over, we will see a resumption of the move to the downside. Whatever structure happens here, when this is done, we'll look for downside. Pound New Zealand. One, two, three. I showed this one yesterday. Same structure. There hasn't been much moves since yesterday. We're still looking for Pound New Zealand to do this short-term weakness on the pound. I'll jump straight to Euro New Zealand as well. Euro New Zealand, you can see there's a similar structure. We've got a move to the upside. We're looking for this. These are 3 waves down. This says 1, 2, 3. We're expecting this to continue to the downside. Let's look at the indicators. Indicators, you can see we are right at the top here. We are right at 50, so we're expecting this to drop. Back to pound. We've done all the pound pairs, have we? Yes, we have. Let's look at Euro pound. Euro pound, we did say yesterday we're expecting this to bounce up. We're expecting a bounce back up to this level. Refer to yesterday's video. Euro AUD, same. We're expecting this to come and bounce here, but is it ready to bounce from current levels, or is it going to make one more down first before we actually get the bounce? There's a possibility here, but eventually we're looking for this to give us this structure, this flat correction here before any continuation to the downside. We are currently long-term bearish on this one. Just to show you on this one. Long-term bearish, you see, on the weekly where we are. So any bounce here, this is a very small move on the weekly. It's a very small move. So if we get to those levels, we're looking for this on Euro AUD. EuroCAD, we've already looked at EuroCAD as well. And Euro New Zealand. EuroChief. EuroChief, looks like we have got 1, 2. We could be going for a wave 3 here. If Pound Chief is anything to go by, the Euro Chief should continue to the upside. We'll see this correct here and push to the upside. Remember what we're looking at here? This is 1, 2 here, and we're looking at this one to be making another lower degree, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we'll see this as 4 and a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. So the current pullback on Euro Chief should be the wave 3 in the red degree. This is the 3 here. Let's label it as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Let's go look at that 4 in the lower degree. The 4 is what is currently building up now. This is the wave 4 that we're looking at. So when this is done and confirms upside, we're going to see a bit of downside here now, and then upside. And that structure is this 1, and then 1 more down. Let me remove the boundaries so you can see the structure. That is the structure. That is a running flat W, X, and a Y. I'm expecting downside here on Eurochief to complete this corrective structure, but eventually we're looking for upside. The same thing we are looking for on Pound Chief. One more down before a push to the upside. We'll be watching this. Let's look at the Audi New Zealand. Look for any trade setup to the downside. We are looking for this structure to come down here. So any continuation pattern to the downside, you take it to the downside to around those levels, around 650 again. Audi CAD we've already looked at with the CAD pairs. Audi Chief, looking for this. Then downside before pushing up higher. New Zealand CAD, we already looked at New Zealand CAD. New Zealand Chiefs going sideways. We've got 1, 2, expecting a push to the upside, downside before we go. Then the structure would be as follows. Bigger structure. If we get a bigger structure, that's an opportunity to take it further up higher. CAD Chief we already looked at. The indices, nothing has changed since yesterday, guys. You can just refer to yesterday. I've shown also the sequences. You guys also have access to all the charts on the website, so just refer to those. I'm not looking at any new trade setups. We're just looking at pullbacks currently on the indices. So I'm not going to go through this right now. I'm just going to go through to the cryptocurrencies. Nothing has changed from the indices between yesterday and now. Let's look at indices. So the indices, is this the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that we're looking at on Bitcoin? So yesterday we're looking for this to do this 1, 2, 3, and then upside. Let's have a look at these structures. So Bitcoin, we've got a pullback here. What we're looking at as a wave 4. It goes up in 3 waves. It pulls back in 3. As a possibility, we go take the top here, come back down, and then we look for continuation to the upside for that last wave 5. Then the structure that we'll have is 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Okay, so we'll be looking for this to push back here, and then we'll get one more up to that wave 5, where we're going to expect a deeper corrective structure if this makes a flat. But there's a number of alternatives within this structure, but the external structure will still be the same. There's a possibility that this actually continues to the downside from here, takes the low here, bounce back up, downside. It will still be the same, provided this does not touch this level. If it touches this level as a wave 1, that structure will be invalidated. That is the invalidation area. So we'll be looking for this as well on Bitcoin. 1, 2, and then upside. Okay, so let's keep an eye on this for another leg to the upside before we get a deeper correction here. All right. Can it be an expanding flat? Are you referring to Bitcoin, Chima? Somebody says triangle. Oh yeah, you're referring to Bitcoin. Yes. Let's have a look here. There are 2. Okay. This could be. Yeah, it could be. I think you guys are answering each other there. So it is possible that it becomes an expanding flat. Breaks the top, breaks the low, and then upside. But if it breaks the low, as long as it does not break this level, because that is your invalidation level. You cannot have a 1, 2, 3, and a 4 that comes into the territory of wave 1. That will change the structure. Okay, let's keep an eye on Bitcoin, and that's how we are expecting it to play out. If we look at Ethereum is showing us downside. We've got 1, 1, 2, 3. So we're going to see this one make a move to the downside here. Okay, so let's see how, and Ethereum looks to have made all the 5 waves, by the way. So let's see what we're getting here. Okay, we're going to get a pullback. We're going to update the structure. Okay, so there may be a bit of a change in the count here within the structure on Ethereum. This could be our wave 5. So here we could be having, we'll have to watch as that structure plays out. This could actually be the wave 1, the 2, and this one becomes the 3, 4, and a 5. So let's watch that. We're looking for downside here. Provided this wave 4, if we're presuming this to be a wave 4, it should not come touch here. If it does, that invalidates the whole count. Litecoin already coming down after breaking lower here, and it's still going to continue to the downside. So Litecoin has got this structure, 1 expanding flat, valid according to the rules, then we look for this bigger corrective structure on Litecoin. Ripple, we're looking for this to make one move to the downside. We started with this impulsive move to the downside. This is a correction. We're going to expect one more down here on Ripple. That's all for today, guys. I'll see you again tomorrow. Have a great week. Those that have questions, you can stay on, and then I will assist you with your chats. I'm going to stop the video here and assist those that have got questions. Cheers, everybody. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.